Well, hello, Facebook friends and family. Today is day 8 of 21, and the topic today is frustration. Okay, so what is frustration? Well, frustration, we're going to dive right in today. Hi, Ken. Good to see you. Daisy May, thank you guys for joining in. So frustration is really that mellow anger. Number 8, you got it, Ken. Number 8 of 21. This has been exciting. I hope this is helping you guys. I really do. Please, pop off feedback to me. Super exciting. I love knowing how it's helping, even in small ways, some big ways. That's awesome. Richard, nice to see you. Oh my God, Ernesto. Hello, love. Thank you guys for popping in. How exciting. All right, so frustration is the topic for today, and it's really mellow anger. And we're going to have a whole session tomorrow on just anger, because that's a, enormous one for a lot of people. But frustration itself is kind of that lower level anger. It doesn't reach that kind of what we would term angry kind of place. We're just frustrated, right? I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that I can't get this done, or I'm frustrated that I can't get that done, or I've called somebody and they don't call me back, or, all those kinds of things, right? I'm frustrated that I'm working with this team of people and as my coworkers, and I'm doing all my part and they're not getting their part in. And I become afraid that I'm not going to get this project done or these things done that I have to get done by the deadline, right? So Renee, nice to see you. Thank you for popping in. So good to have everybody here. Thank you. All right, so frustration is, there's a whole thing I could do for days and days that talk about the brain and the mind. And again, we're not going to go very deep into these things because I could be here for hours, right? And we're going to keep these short. So when we're dealing with frustration, the important thing to be aware of is that frustration is really about, I want something and I'm not getting it. Okay. So, hey, how you doing, girl? Yeah, good to see ya. So I'm frustrated because I want my coworkers to finish their stuff so that I can finish mine. I'm frustrated because I'm trying to get to this place and I'm already running late, or I keep hitting all these stoplights or a ton of traffic, and these cars are just going so slow, they won't get out of my way. So think of it in the terms of, I want something and I'm not getting it. And then that creates this low-level anger that we call frustration. And what it also breeds is a sense of impatience, right? I become impatient with the cars in front of me because I just want, listen to the words, want to get there. Or I should have done this, or I should be doing this, and I'm not, and I'm getting frustrated. I'm impatient because I want this thing and I'm not getting it. Maria from Sweden, love, how are you? Thank you for popping in. God, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here and supporting this. And I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but again, I hope it's helping a little bit. And I hope if you're sharing it, and thank you to all of you who are sharing it, I hope it's helping those you're sharing it with. That's the whole point. That's the whole goal. Okay, so impatience. Okay, so then I guess the question is, like, why do we get impatient? If impatience kind of breeds frustration, why do we become impatient in the first place, right? Well, we're hardwired as human beings to move toward pleasure and away from pain. You might know that already, right? None of this is new information, but the idea that we're hardwired to move toward pleasure and away from pain is pretty critical to our survival, I would think, wouldn't you say? Like, I'm not going to go out there in the world back in old ancient times in caveman days and put myself at risk when I knew that there was some danger lurking before me. I'm going to kind of work to keep myself safe. But we don't live in that kind of age anymore, that kind of era. Now we live in a world, Marie, hi, coach. Hi, coach, back to you. Love you, girl. Thank you for popping in. Now we live in a world today where you know, we have all these modern conveniences. We have a whole lot more safety in a lot of respects. I don't have to worry about going out on my back deck at night, probably, right, and getting attacked by a mountain lion, unless I live in an area where there's a lot of mountain lions. And so because I have food available to me, because I have shelter, because I have clothing available to me, there are a lot less concerns in that respect. And so what happens is, as our modern technological age and the modern conveniences of our time continue to kind of expand and increase for us, we begin to kind of become a little more impatient with getting those things that we want. And then that breeds this frustration. And so because we're hardwired toward pleasure and away from pain, the more I'm not getting that pleasure or that outcome that's positive, that will give me pleasure or happiness or joy or whatever, you know, feeling it will give you, the more I become impatient with it, right? Because now it's not necessarily causing me pain, but it's keeping me away from that pleasure. And so in that impatience, now that breeds instant gratification. Okay, so these are all kind of tiers, right? So think of it this way. And again, tomorrow we'll go into anger more fully, and not deeply, but we'll go into it way more in depth tomorrow. Think of anger here, then we have frustration, then we have impatience, and then we have instant gratification. I want what I want when I want it now. And I want it now to avoid the impatience, to avoid the frustration, to avoid the anger, right? Now, if you've ever paid attention to young children, you'll see that little toddlers and young children will stomp their little feet and throw little tantrums and fits because they want something, and they want it right now. Move toward pleasure, away from pain. I want this thing, I'll get this thing, it'll give me pleasure, it'll keep me away from pain, the not wanting or the not getting piece. I don't get it. I want it right now. Give it to me. Especially like little children in the checkout lane at the grocery store, right? And they have all those impulse purchases that are set up right there, like candy bars and things like that, and other stuff that the adults might want to just grab something because it's right there, right? You know, instead of searching the store for it, impulse buying. And the child sees the candy bar and it's like, I want a candy bar. And the mama says no. I want a candy bar. And the mama says no. Now the child is becoming impatient because they're not getting instantly gratified. Now they start to throw a little bit of a fit, a little bit of a tantrum. Frustration levels are increasing in the child and in mama. Child keeps asking. Mama keeps saying no. No, 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 no. Child throws a bigger fit, starts to wail and scream, and maybe if they're standing up, they're stomping their feet or they're flailing about on the floor. Now the mom just wants peace. She wants it to stop. Another state of wantingness, right? And she doesn't want to affect everybody else in the store. Maybe she cares what other people think. Who knows? And child is throwing their little tantrum, and mama just wants it to stop. So she gratifies the child by maybe giving in and getting the child the candy bar. Child gets what he or she wants, stops the tantrum. Frustration levels decrease because what we wanted has now been given, right? At first it was, I just want peace. They go along into the checkout lane. Child throws the tantrum. Mom wants the frustration to stop. Mom wants the wailing to stop and the tantrum to stop. Child wants the candy bar, competing wants. Somebody has to give in. So where instant gratification becomes kind of a problem is it can become a bit dangerous because it creates kind of an emotional imbalance. So I'm this adult. I have suffered through pain in my life. I am fearful of facing it. I'm frustrated with the way my life is going. It doesn't seem to be panning out the way I hoped. Maybe I don't have the job or the career I wanted, or the relationship I wanted, or the home I wanted, or the money in the bank that I wanted at this point in my life, whatever the age is that I am. And I'm feeling frustrated, and I'm feeling all this pain all the time. All these thoughts are running through my head about why can't that be me? Or why can't I have this? Or I want this and I try so hard and I'm not getting it. And maybe I see all these people around me who appear to be getting it easily. And so now I'm feeling impatient because I'm not getting what I want, which is this more comfortable or easier life. And I'm seeing all these other people kind of getting it, and I'm feeling impatient. Now I'm getting frustrated. The impatience level rises to that level of frustration because no matter what I do, and it's complex in a way because it's tied up with a lot of other thought processes and emotions and some of the experiences and then the belief systems that we have. But just for kind of the basis of these lives and diving just a little bit into what frustration is, that's kind of a pretty good idea of how frustration kind of goes. So one of the ways that you can combat frustration is you've got to be able to evaluate the situations, right? So let's take a look at the child in the checkout lane. Going along shopping, child's been pretty good. Occasionally a child's like, I want, and mama says no, and child's fine. But now the child really is zoned in and honed in on that candy bar that they want, and they are not going to back off until they potentially get it. And so mom's standing in the line and the child's throwing the tantrum and she just wants to check out. That's her primary want, right? Get out of here, pay for my stuff, get my stuff in the car, go do whatever else I have to do. But child sees the candy bar, wants it, instant gratification's kicking in. Mom is saying no, ruin your dinner. No, you're not going to have it. Maybe the mom is trying to like hold the boundary because this is something the child does often, is throw these little tantrums, but this is normal for children, right? They want what they want when they want it now. And so child's throwing the tantrum and mom's trying to calm the child. Child's not having any of it. Frustration's starting to build now because the impatience level of wanting that child to be calm is competing with the child's impatience level raising of wanting that candy bar. And one of those wants is going to give in and is going to win out, right? And so you have to be able to evaluate. So in that moment, let's say that's me and I'm in the checkout lane with my child and I'm starting to feel really frustrated. I'm never going to behave and act with anyone else in an interactive way from a place of frustration that's going to be healthy. My interactions will be stemming from that feeling inside, in this case of frustration, but it could be anything. I could be feeling hurt. I could be feeling sad. And so if I'm feeling and being in a certain state inside, my actions are going to stem from that. So you have to be able to evaluate it. So I'll step back in that moment. I'll take a deep breath and I'll look at, okay, I'm feeling frustrated because my child won't calm down. They're escalating in the tantrum. I want to get out of here. I want to just go on with our day. I want to not make a scene, all these things, right? So you have to really look at why you're becoming frustrated, what the situation is, evaluate them. As I've said every day for the last 8 days, write them down. When you see it clearly on paper before you, it doesn't feel like a jumbled mess of thoughts in your head, and it's much easier to manage. But again, if you don't like writing, then get an audio recorder, record it on your phone, on the voice app, but just get it out so that you can either read it back or listen to it back and really take a look at what the situations are that you're becoming impatient in, so that that's at least the first place you can start to understand how to then break it down a little further, right? Now then, when you're writing down why you're impatient, now I want you to look at each one of those reasons that you gave and circle the words that are the more frustrated, impatient expectation words, like shoulds, coulds, woulds, supposed tos, right? I'm supposed to be at my destination at 3 and it's already 2:30 and I still have 40 miles to go. Why does this traffic have to be so bad today? Why do people have to go so slow? Like, why can't things just like go smoothly for me? You see how that can spiral? So if I write down, sorry, I think I have a little something in my eye. If you write down the shoulds, the woulds, the coulds, the supposed tos, all the words, I mean, not write them down, I apologize. If you circle them after you've written down your reasons why you've become frustrated, if you circle those words, now you can clearly begin to see where you're having expectation. Because see, it's not following the thing you want. You have this expectation that I want to be there on time. I want to get there at XYZ time. I want my child to calm down. I want my wife or husband to, boyfriend, girlfriend, son, daughter, friend, whoever, doesn't matter, boss, coworker, plug in your own kind of, fill in the blank thing. I want this, but what I'm really getting in return is this other thing. All right. Then, now this is a little bit of a hard part in a way, because, wow, I must really have a little burning going on in my eye. I apologize for the distraction. So if you guys don't mind, I'll just sit like this for a minute. How does it look with one-eyed Sue? Does that work? Being silly here. Okay, so now you have to look at, what was I expecting? Okay, so it's kind of like, well, wait a minute. You just said that's kind of this, it's kind of the same thing. I'm writing down kind of all the reasons that I was becoming impatient. And I'm circling the words that are the expectation words, like should, would, could, supposed to. But then I have to take a look at, one, are they my expectations, or are they the expectations that I think others have about me? That's one part of it. And then the second little piece of it is, what was I expecting? Did I expect to go into the store with my 3-year-old child who has been known to always want a candy bar in the checkout lane? And was I expecting him to be calm? So what could I have done differently? Maybe I could have gone into a different lane where maybe they don't have the candy bars. Maybe they have a lot of like items, like, in a lot of stores, they don't always have candy in those checkout lanes. Some lanes do, some lanes don't. Could I have gone through self-checkout to avoid some of that, right? What can I do to kind of manage through it when it happens? But if I'm not even aware of what it is that I was expecting, how am I going to use any of these tools to really kind of manage through it? Because this isn't just about, I have this feeling, recognize this feeling, and then that's it. It should be fine, right? There's that should word. That's an expectation. I have these tools. I should be able to use them. Well, what if I'm not? What if I have awareness of a tool, of a skill, of a strategy or solution to something, and I'm not using it? There's a reason why. So this could breed that kind of level of frustration. All right, so evaluate the situation, write down all the reasons that you're impatient. Go back through your list, circle all the words of the shoulds, the coulds, the woulds, the supposed tos, those kinds of expectation words. Then take a look at, what was I expecting? And see if your expectation doesn't have like a role in it. And here's the final thing. Once you do all that, then I'm going to invite you, as a fourth little strategy, to play the scene back on like a movie screen. Just close your eyes for a minute. It doesn't matter if you're not a visual person and you don't see any pictures in your head. Just to get a sense or a knowingness that it's happening is perfectly fine. So you close your eyes and you imagine a movie screen before you, and I replay the scene that just occurred. One, I understand why I was impatient. Two, I've looked at where my expectations came into play by the words that I used, the shoulds, the woulds, the supposed tos, the coulds, and others. Three, I looked at what my expectations were in that. Those words give me the clue that I have an expectation, or maybe others have an expectation, and I look at what those are, Now I have potential ways that I can combat that. So I put the scene back up on the screen in my mind and I replay it in a calmer way. I replay it by giving myself that tool or that skill that I need, whether it's the awareness, whether it's taking a few deep breaths, whether it's walking away from a situation for a moment to kind of remove yourself from that heightening feeling of impatience and not getting your need met, of that instant gratification of that want, and then of the level of frustration that we potentially hit. And if you can't kind of reach that calmer replay of the scene, then you have to kind of go back and go, where am I still a little caught up in the expectation or the impatience that's creating the frustration? So I hope that makes sense. Diane, hi, thank you so much for popping in. I love you guys so much. I hope that helps a bit. Again, these are short, just a little dip of the toe into some of these different emotions on our adulting roller coaster of life. Few solutions. I hope it's beneficial. If you have any questions, please make sure you reach out to me and let me know what they are, or comment here in the comments section. I do go back through everything and I will answer any questions that you have. Please make sure that if you want the MP3, and I'll say this every day because I have people viewing this that aren't here every day, or maybe this is the first time they've heard me, or maybe the only time. If you want the MP3 at the very end of all of the 21 days edited together to be very succinct from day 1 to day 2 and so on, please make sure that you either PM me your email address, or I forgot to do it today, but I have a link that I'm going to pin at the top of each day from here on out, that if you just click that link, it'll take you right to the little sign up page for the MP3, right? So that way I have the list and I know exactly who wants the MP3. So you guys are amazing. I love you all. I appreciate your support. I love that you're here. Please feel free to spread the love on these lives if you think that these topics are important for people in your life or on your friends list to hear. If you feel someone will benefit, that's the whole reason I'm doing this, is to help create a larger impact and help people realize they really don't have to be in the prison of their own mind with all this adulting stuff that sometimes holds us back and gets in the way. And so for now, I hope you have a stress-free, frustration-free, impatient-free kind of day. I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And tomorrow we're going to get into anger, right? And we'll dive in a little deeper, but still not too much, and some cool strategies and tools to kind of manage through anger. You might be surprised at what anger really is and isn't. So I will see you tomorrow. Have an awesome day. Ciao for now.